Hey guys, it's Jake here, and welcome back. This is tutorial 27. Now in this tutorial, we are going to be making a loading screen. It doesn't really load, but basically it's like an intro screen where you have a big play button, and basically you don't start the game until you press play. So that's what I'll be showing in this tutorial, and to test it out, I'll just show you guys. There we go, and the game begins. And then you can shoot off and kill enemies. Alright. Okay, to start off, what I had to do first was make a loading screen menu. So first of all, I made just a pixelmator file, output it to PNG, and then I opened my sprite pixelmator file. I put in Jetstorm, the menu screen, and then I exported that to PNG and upload it. So I guess if you guys want to make a screen, make it the exact same size as your game, basically. That's what I did. And I just put it under the Jets here. Alright, now to get into the coding part, I guess we'll come down here, or here, and let's get started. So to start off, what we need to do is draw our menu to the game screen. So to do that, what we're going to do is, first of all, fold these, and then I'm going to copy this draw background one. Now, since you guys know a lot now, so basically we don't need these extra variables here, these source X, source Y, draw X, draw Y. We should have these memorized where they go by now. Well, at least I do, so. Anyways, you don't have to do this, but I'm just going to replace the variables like this. It just saves some code lines. It doesn't really matter if you do it or not. I'm just going to do it to save some space. And now I'm going to copy this. Okay, now where do I want to paste this? I think I want to paste it just right here. Okay, so instead of draw background, I'm just going to type in draw menu. And I actually want to keep it on the context background. That's where it's going to be drawn. Now, I have to get the source X and the source Y of my image, so pixelmator. The source Y is, what is it? 580, I think. Yeah, 580. Source X is 0. Okay, so source Y is this one, 580. Source X is 0. I want to draw at 0, 0 on the canvas. Right up in the top corner it's going to start, so that's good. Now if I save that, good. Now what I need to come to now is the init function here. And inside of here, what I want to do is actually comment this out for a second. After the spawn enemy function or call, I just want to put draw menu. Whoops. And then I'm going to test it out. When I load my game, I should see the menu. I should see there we go. There's the menu. As you can see, I can't press play because we haven't set that up yet. We need to get mouse coordinates and stuff to do this. Okay, so to come back here, draw menu, good. Now what we need to do is when we actually hit the play button, it's going to call a function. So let's make that function, and I think I'm going to put it just right here. Function play game. That's just going to start the game right off. Whoops. Okay. So inside the play game function, what I'm actually going to do is cut out this stuff right here. Since we had this stuff call automatically when the game loaded inside the init function, that made the game start right away. This time we don't want the game to start until we call play game, which is when we hit the play button. So I'm just going to uncomment these now. And now if I save this, get rid of that. Refresh. Good. Everything's still working. Should open console just to see if there's any errors ever. It helps. Okay, so after that, what we need to do is... inside the init function, what we need to do is add a new event listener. Now, this one's basically going to be like this. I'm going to copy it though, because I'm late. It's faster. So instead of key down, what we want to know is when the document is clicked. So we just type in click there. Instead of check key down, we're going to make a new function and we're going to call it mouse clicked. If I spell it right. Oh my gosh. Mouse clicked. There we go. So I guess down here, I guess I'll go right here. Oh, actually, I have an event area down at the very bottom, event functions. So I'm going to put mouse, should start with function, mouse clicked. Now, if you guys remember, oh wow, I'm screwing this up. Okay, there we go. Now, since we're calling an event, since the document is basically firing an event to mouse clicked, what we need to do is put an E inside of this bracket here, a parameter, just like the check key down and check key up. They both have E's because that's an event that's getting passed into them. So inside the mouse clicked function, what we need to do is, well, before this actually, I'm going to go up to the very top, and we need two new variables. I'm going to put them under the game width and height. One is going to be mouse X. So this is going to be the X coordinate of the mouse. I'm just going to set it to 0 at the start. And var mouse Y is the Y position. And I'll just set them to 0 at the start just for default. Now inside of here, when the mouse is actually clicked, the document is going to say, it's going to tell us where it's clicked. And we're going to set the mouse X to something and the mouse Y to something. Now the something that we have to type in is I actually made a tutorial about mouse events. You can check out my channel for that one. I might put a link in the description probably. But basically I'm going to fly through this because I explained it all in that other tutorial. So basically we take the events page X and subtract the canvas background dot offset all in lowercase, offset left except the capital L there, offset left. And for the Y one, we take the E dot page Y and we subtract the canvas VG dot offset top. Basically, it's the document's telling this is the coordinate we give you, but make sure the coordinate is inside the canvas basically to make it start there. So basically, if I click here, I'm going to get a number, but if I click right here, it's going to be 0, 0. This will be 700, 800, 500, whatever your width and height is. But these out here will be negative numbers because it's just the way it works. I'm sure you guys will figure that out as you're testing because I assure you, mouse events are going to be some of the toughest and most problems you'll ever see. I've had some problems making this tutorial today, so it took me a little while to figure out what the problem was. Anyways, after this, what we now need to do is go back up here, flip the page. Okay, so basically our play button, and say we have multiple buttons on our page and stuff like that, we're gonna make a button become an object, so it's much easier to use. Just like we have a jet object and an enemy object and a bullet object, we are now gonna have a button object. I'm gonna put it down here, I think. So button object. And button object. I like to keep things organized. Okay. So inside the button object, first of all, we need to create a constructor. So we start with a capital B for button. And just like that. Okay. Now, since we're creating a button, well, I guess, yeah, we'll do this first. Okay. So what we need to know for the button is since we're taking the mouse coordinates, we need to know if the mouse is going to click inside this box right here. To know that, we need to know this X value, this X value, this Y value, and that Y value. So basically I'm going to call these X left, X right, Y top, and Y bottom. And if the mouse clicks inside of there, then we know it's hit the play button. So to do this, we're going to start off with this dot X left equals something. This dot X right will equal something. This dot Y top and this dot Y bottom. That's what I named them. Now basically when we create a new button object, we're going to pass parameters into here and they are going to become, these values are going to become what the parameters tell them to. So I'm just going to put the parameters as XL, XR, YT, and YB. Those are my parameters for this object. And basically, the X left is going to become XL, which is the number that we pass into this spot, which you guys are probably familiar with now, so I won't go into too much detail. YT and YB. There we go. So we have a button object, and we're telling it to use the values that we pass into it. Okay, so let's create our play button now. Just like a jet object, basically we're going to say var, let's do btn, which stands for button, play, equals new button. And just like that. And yeah, so the new button. Now we need to pass in 4 parameters here, so I won't confuse you guys with that. Okay, so to get these parameters, what we need to do is open up your sprite. And I already made guidelines, so I know where the values are. So this Y top is 800, but since my menu actually starts at 580, it's 800 minus 580, which will be this coordinate. So 800 minus 580 is 265, I think. That's what I've written down. So that's the X. Oh, shoot. I was doing the wrong one. X left is 265 right here. Because that's right on 265 and it starts at 0. So 0 plus 265 is 265. Now, this X right boundary is, I think, 535. So I'm just going to come back here and type in 535. Now I need my Y top, which I said was 220 actually. That's what 800 minus 580 equals. 220. And over here, the Y bottom is 915 minus 580, which is 335. That's what I have written down. Perfect. So our button, basically we're creating a new button and we're passing in these parameters. Down here somewhere, yep. It creates a new button with the parameters so we know what the boundaries are. Now we have to do something with those boundaries. And to do something, all we need to do is, well, what we need to do first is create a new method just for the button. So I'm going to copy the enemy prototype because it's quicker. I'm going to switch out enemy with button because this button method belongs to the button object. That's why. And I'm going to say, well, first of all, I'll get rid of this stuff. And I'm going to call this button method, I'm going to call it check clicked. So basically, we're going to check if the button's clicked. And we're going to return either true or false. To do that, we need an if statement. And at the end of the if statement, we're going to return true. So basically, we're going to put a bunch of stuff in here. And if whatever we put in here is true, then we're going to return true. And I'll explain this again later because that doesn't make sense right now. Okay, so if the button is clicked, to know if the button is clicked, what we need to type in, what we need to know is that the mouse is actually going to be, or the mouse X value is going to be more than the X left, but less than the X right. And the mouse Y position is going to be more than the Y top and less than the Y bottom because it goes from 0 to 500, 0 to 800. That's how the coordinate system works, which you guys know. Okay, so after we know that, we have to do this dot X left has to be less than or equal to mouse X. And this dot X right has, let's do this. Mouse X has to be less than or equal to this dot X right. That means that the mouse has been clicked within the X left boundary and the X right boundary, which is what we need. We also need another one for the Y. So this dot Y top has to be less than or equal to mouse Y, and mouse Y has to be less than or equal to this dot Y bottom. So basically, that's going to say if the button is clicked in this area, we're going to return true. Now, what we're going to return true to is down here in the mouse clicked area. We are going to create another if statement, and we're going to say btn play, which is the name of our button up here, btn play, dot check clicked, and 2 brackets. So basically, our play button has become an object, a button object, and now we can access this method called check clicked. When we click anywhere on the game, so if I click anywhere, the document is going to give us the mouse's X position and the mouse's Y position. And we're going to say, since the mouse was clicked, if button play.checkClicked, this is going to call this checkClicked function right here, which checks if the mouse's X and the mouse's Y positions are inside the button's parameters, basically. And if they are, we're going to return true. Now, if this returns true, we're going to say play game, which basically we will fire our play game function right here, which basically starts our game off. And that is how you add a button to canvases to make a menu to make your game start after you press the button. So I'm going to refresh this and hopefully no errors. Good. Now, if I click anywhere, I will get nothing, which is perfect. If I click around close here, nothing. Now, as soon as I click in here, bam, the game starts. And you can start firing away at enemies. So if I refresh, it's pretty accurate. Well, it's obviously like definitely accurate. As soon as I get my mouse in there and I click a bit higher. A bit higher? Oh, okay. Well, I think it's where I chose my X value or my Y value. But basically, as long as your mouse is inside the button, you can click anywhere inside the button and your game will start. So that's how to start a game with a menu button. And if you like my cool little menu that I made in about 30 minutes, like the video, please, if you want. But I just made this for fun. I had a lot of fun making this menu, so it was pretty cool. Anyways, what you can also do is if you have a website name or something, what I would do is basically add a button object for your logo or your website name, and then when someone clicks that, make the website take it, or make your game take them to your website or whatever like that. Unless you're already on your website, which I am as well, but I could also just put a button down here, say if someone clicked on Jarostorm, it would take them to my home page. Yeah. Okay, so thanks for watching, guys. All these files, or just the game.js, I guess, for this one, will be in the minus profile. So you can check that out. If you have any questions, leave a comment or send me a message. And like I said, mouse events are going to be some of your most annoying problems that you'll get. So make sure you guys watch my mouse event tutorial that I made. It's on my channel somewhere. Probably under JavaScript tips and tricks and stuff like that. But anyways, guys, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.